We got Vicente Luque here on the program. He's going to be fighting Chad Laprise at UFC Fight Night 129 on May 19th. Vicente, how are you today?
I'm doing good, man. Doing good.
Awesome. Well, good to hear. Now, you're in Brazil right now. We were just talking about this. Why are you in Brazil for this camp ahead of this matchup?
Well, I've always mixed up my training between Florida and Brazil, and I felt like for this fight, and I've have really good training here in Brazil. The team here in Brazil has been growing a lot. We have a lot of new pro fighters, and I just felt like it made more sense to train for this fight over here. I had my strength and conditioning, my psychologist over here, and I have also my physiotherapist over here. So I wanted to have the best camp I could have. So have all my team here, not only the fight team, but everything you need to have a great camp. So for me, it made sense to have it over here.
Excellent. And we'll talk about training camp in a sec. But first, it's been a while since we've seen you in the cage. You haven't fought since October. What's sort of been the reason for the layoff? Is it just injuries? Is it just not getting fights? What's the reason?
Yeah, for some time I was not getting fights. I was trying to get some fights, but it wasn't working out. And then when I saw the opportunity to fight in Chile, that's the opportunity I wanted. I mean, I have family in Chile, so I wanted to be in this card for sure. And so we started talking to the UFC, me and Ali, my manager. We started talking to the UFC in kind of like February about that fight. So it was something I really wanted. So I thought maybe I'll wait a little bit and I'll wait for May because that's a fight I want. I want to fight in Chile in front of my family. And the first UFC out of Brazil in South America, it's going to be a big deal. So that's why I took so long to fight again. But I'm ready to go back in there and do what I do.
And you mentioned your manager there, Ali. One of the things I know that he does, even when you're not fighting, he's still calling you a lot. He's checking up on you. How often does he get in touch with you? Because I know we don't see that from managers too often, but I know Ali's probably calling you all the time.
Yeah, all the time. I mean, many times a week he's talking to me like 3 or 4 times. He always makes sure that I'm doing well. If I need anything, if I'm, not only for fighting, but in general, he wants to really know how we are in life. If we're having a good time, if we're, focused on as we should be for our training and for our fights. So I mean, it's great. This is gonna be my first fight with him, but it has been great. Everything has been great since I started working with him, so I know it was a great move for my career, and I think it's gonna pay off for
Yeah,
sure.
and how nice is that? You don't have to worry about things. He sort of takes care of it, and he's asking about how your family's doing. Like it's not just fight stuff. He wants to make sure even outside the cage you're doing well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's great, and it makes us feel, even more ready and more supported for our fights. We always want to have a strong team, and he's part of my team. He's part of my team, not only in the managing part and everything. He knows about my training. He knows about everything. He sometimes tells me like, oh, maybe you should look at this or look at that. So we're always in touch and helping each other for sure.
Great. Now let's talk about the matchup. You're taking on Chad Laprise, a guy I know pretty well because I live up in Canada. How do you feel like you match up against him? Chad's been on a bit of a roll lately.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great fight. When I got this fight, I mean, I was really excited for it. I'm sure it's going to be a great fight standing up. He's a striker. I'm a striker. We're going to go out there and we're going to test who's the best striker, who can take more shots and who could put the better shots in. So I think stylistically, it's a great fight. The fans are gonna really like the fight. And for me, it's great. I like guys that push forward, that come trying to look for the knockout. That's what I do as well. So it's a great fight. I'm excited for it, and I'm ready.
And you talked about training in Brazil. Who are some of the training partners you get to work with in your camp out in Brazil?
Yeah, here, I mean, they're not guys that are so known, but are guys that fight locally, and some guys that fight also in Japan. In Pancrase, we have a kid that was gonna fight there some time ago, but it's more local fighters, more fighters in Brazil, but really tough kids that have a great future in front of them. And I just feel like sometimes it's not the names that really matter, but the training that you get. And here the training is really tough, and I feel really focused over here. I have the support also. My mother lives here, my fiance lives here, so I have the family support is always important. So I feel really good training here.
Who's someone that you train with that we should be keeping an eye on? We talked about guys that we might not know, but I'm sure we're going to hear about some of these names that you're training with in the coming years.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Ismael Marreta is the name. It's kind of hard to say the name because it's a Brazilian, but he's a really good kid. He's coming up. He's gonna be good. Another kid is Andre Fischer. He coming off 5 straight wins. He had a fight 2 weeks ago. He fought, and 3 weeks before he fought also he had a fight like one week difference between fights. Won them both. So these are two guys that are really that train a lot with me, give me a lot of great work, and they are guys that are definitely gonna be eventually in big shows.
Good to hear. I like keeping tabs on the prospects. You know, it's good to hear about the
Yeah, yeah.
future of the sport. How's the weight cut going? This fight's coming up here next week. You seem like you're in a good mood, so I imagine the weight cut's going well.
Yeah, it's going well. I mean, I'm really focused in my diet. I try to do a diet at least for 2 months to keep myself really healthy. And when I don't have a fight, I also keep myself healthy. I don't keep myself too heavy, and always eating clean. That's something I like to do because you never know if I have a fight short notice. I want to be able to get it, and be ready. In 2 weeks, I'm sure that I can make weight like no problem because that's how I keep myself always. So weight cut is not an issue for me. It's really good, and I just feel ready. And the closer I get to the fight, the more excited I get. That's why I'm in a good.
What's one thing you can't eat during training camp that you miss right now that you can't have?
A lot of things. No,
What's at
but
the top of the list? Like, what are you going to have right after you're done the fight?
like weed here in Brazil, it's pudding, but it's kind of made. It's made with condensed milk, pudding. That's like a really good thing that we have here in Brazil, and I love that. It's my favorite sweet thing, and that's what I miss eating a lot for sure.
Okay, good to hear. Who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
So for this fight, I'm gonna have Gilbert Burns. He's here
Oh,
already.
nice.
Yeah, yeah. He always comes help me out whenever I can. I go help him out for his fights. We're like really close, and I mean he's a great guy on the floor, and I'm a good guy on the stand up. So we're always trying to help each other out on what we can. I also have my coach from Brazil, Daniel. He is my striking coach, which I started with, and he always goes to every fight of mine. I have my coach from Luta Livre. He's going to be going also for the fight, and Henry is going to be also over there for the fights, for Kamaru's fight. So he's definitely going to be. I'm definitely going to work with him a lot. Henry helps me out no matter where I am. If I'm here in Brazil or if I'm in Florida, he's always keeping in touch with me, watching my trainings. I send him videos whenever I can of my training, and he lets me know, hey, maybe you should look on this, do some work on this or whatever else. And he's also very in touch with Daniel, which is my striking coach over here. So they always talk to each other. He's a big part of my training, and it's great that he's going to be there for Kamaru's fight and be able to help me for my fight as well.
When you were in Florida, did you ever work with Evan Boris at all? Because he's kind of one of the coaches out there that I don't think gets enough publicity.
Yeah, for sure. I've worked a lot with him, and I mean, he's a great guy. He's a guy like what every time after I fight, he lets me know like what he saw from that fight, what he thinks I should improve, what I did good, and I mean, he's a super intelligent guy. Not only on the fighting aspects, but in outside of the fighting, he's a very very intelligent guy. So he's able to analyze fights different than most people. He sees like the technical aspect and also like how much of that round you were winning, what's the percentage of round, what should you do for your next fight, how do you match up with certain fighters in the division. So he's a great guy. Evan is a great guy, and I've worked with him a lot.
Yeah, he's from where I live out in Toronto, so I had to give Evan a
Nice.
plug here because he does
Yeah.
some great work, and I know
No,
he's really
but
gelled with your team really well too.
he deserves it a lot. Sure.
How do you see this fight playing out on May 19th?
I see it as striking matchup for sure. We're gonna go out there and strike each other. I mean, it's gonna be nice. I'm really excited for it, and I'm always ready. My ground game is something that I've shown. I don't go in there looking for it necessarily, but I have it always on point. So if he tries to look for the ground game, I'll be ready for that as well. But I'm looking forward to fighting stand up, having a 3-round war if he wants to come in and put the pressure. I'm gonna put the pressure from the start. If he can take it, we're gonna go for a war for sure. Maybe fight of the night.
What's next for you if you go here and get a win over Laprise? I mean, Laprise has been on a bit of a roll. Where do you feel like this win sort of puts you in the division?
I mean, I've been for a while. I had the 4-win streak, and then I got my loss to Leon Edwards. I came back against Nico Price, which is a tough guy as well. And I'm looking, to get into that top 15. So that's what I want. If I get a win there against Chad Laprise, I'm sure I'm gonna be closer to the top 15, and that's my aim. I want to get into the top 15, keep climbing that up so that I can get all the way to the title. So there's no other way. I mean, it's winning fights and winning them the best way you can. And I'm always out there looking to finish my opponents. I'm not holding back. I'm not trying to fight for points. I'm trying to finish the guys I fight. So I think that there's not much more to it. It's go out there, win the fights, and get close to that title.
Last question for you here. What do you like doing on your downtime? You mentioned you're a family guy and everything. Are you watching any TV? You playing any video games? What would I find you doing when you're not in the gym training?
Yeah, I mean, I spend a lot of time at home. I love going to the movies. So whenever I can, I go to the movies, watch. I recently watched Infinity War.
Oh, nice. Did you like it?
Yeah, I liked it a lot. I liked it a lot for real. Especially the ending. I mean, I wasn't expecting that, and I thought it was perfect. And I also like cars. Cars is something I'm into since I was a little kid. So I have a car over here that is kind of like prepared to race and tracks and stuff like that. So whenever I have some time off training, I go out there and race. I go some karting also, go karts. So those are things I like, but it's basic stuff, nothing too crazy.
Do you watch like F1 or anything like that? Like, are you into like the sport of car racing?
Yeah, I watch F1 and I also watch rally. I like a
Oh,
lot of
cool.
rally.
Okay.
Yeah, I think rally is it's it's just more exciting. It's kind of like I compare it to MMA because the guys are out there putting it all on the line and between trees and stuff, so you can crash. Like there are less rules than F1, so I think the level of danger is higher. So it's more exciting for me to watch. So I don't know. I like rally a lot.
And I really like this fight. It's coming up here May 19th. It's UFC Fight Night 129. Vicente, it was great getting a chance to talk to you, man. Just remind people where they can find you on social media. And if you have any sponsors or shout outs, the floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, so they can find me in Twitter, Vicente Luque MMA, and Instagram, Luque Vicente. So they can find me there. And let's go. May 19th is going to be nice. UFC Chile, first time in Chile, and I'm ready, excited for it.